What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the Wise Early Look CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK. And of course, I'm from the WiseTake Nation, which you can find on all the social media platforms listed below or directly at wisetake.com. If you're looking to take your DFS game level, we are a premium DFS content provider as well as DFS community design to help make you a better DFS player. We got day passes as low as $2.50 if you want to try out our NBA DFS content for one full day. Comes with everything: projections, cheat sheets, 4 plays article, Paulie D's fast break, and our pre-lock live stream Monday through Friday. 45 minutes prior to lock, we hop on for our subscribers and take you up until lock to make sure we have all the news necessary to make the most educated guesses we can make. Go check us out there. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Hit the notifications bell, subscribe. Don't miss any of the free content we put out right here on YouTube, Twitch, Podbean, iTunes, whatever the platform it is that you are listening or watching to us on. And hit the like button. Likes go a long way. Comments really help us out. We like to hear back, feedback. Like to hear from you. It's a community vibe. It's exactly what it is. The Monday slate did not go well for me. I, like many, ate the Philly chalk and went down with the Philly chalk a little too much of the Philly chalk. Obviously, the only one that I think we all needed, who was the one I had the most of, was the rookie. But they just got trounced, and I guess we should have seen it coming, except they hung in there against Denver, so I think that gave everybody a lot of hope that maybe they'd be able to hang with Atlanta, but that was not the case. They got stomped, and horrific. But it happens, right? We had some really good days just a couple days ago. We did really well in football with the Steelers stuff. But every now and again, you're going to have a day that's just shitty, especially when we have pandemic things going on with COVID, the health protocols. We're dealing with these unique circumstances that we don't normally deal with, especially not this early in the season. But like anything else, excuses are like assholes. Everyone has them, and they all stink. All we can look to do is adapt and improve and get better. This is Eat or Beat, DFS streets. We're going to start off today talking about Miami. So Philly's on the slate, and I'll mention this. Philly's guys are questionable. We don't know for sure if they're all going to miss. Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, both questionable. And we need word. As of right now, we think Milton and Curry are going to be out again. Well, Curry, I would assume, is, right? Tested positive, so he'll probably be out. But I think the other guys have to continue to test positive before they can come back. But we'll have to see. Miami, however, we do know is pretty ravished. We've got no Bam, no Jimmy Butler, no Dragic, Bradley Haslam, Nunn, Harkless, Okapala. So they're the Sixers in this particular situation, right? That's going to make Tyler Hero appear to be one of the best plays on the slate. It's going to make him extremely popular, rightfully so. He's already done well. He's already been playing big minutes, and now he's in a situation where he's got no help. So we expect Tyler Hero to run this and take a ton of shots. We also expect Duncan Robinson to take even more shots than usual, and we know that his shots are pretty much all threes. So these two guys, we got to put to the side for now. And that's just do it like that. And that's just the guards. We've got Andre Iguodala, who is a vet, could end up playing big minutes. Hasn't done a whole ton on a point per minute basis. But you take away Butler, Dragic, and Bam Adebayo, and we may see Iguodala do a little bit more. May see him get more involved at 3,300. And again, this is a position where you can see they're really thin, right? The wing position. Precious does have a decent point per minute average, at least decent enough for 3,100. Power forward eligible is pretty big on DraftKings. pretty big. And then, of course, Kelly Olynyk is questionable. It looks like he's probable, so that's good to know. He's probable. Expect Olynyk to play a ton, right? They're thin. We could probably put him in that pile. And then the last guy, kind of a toss-up. Myers Leonard, as you see, is questionable. What I want to know is Chris Silva going to actually get to play? Are they going to let Chris Silva on the court? There were preseason situations where I really thought he was going to get run and he didn't, because this guy is the point per minute beast. Right? This is the one. But in the preseason, he was set up perfectly to have an opportunity to smash and play. They were thin, they were missing guy, and he didn't get on the court. So I got a little shell shock. It's happened to me a few times chasing this guy. But we got to see how many actual active bodies they have. Myers Leonard's questionable. That's one more excuse they could use to not play him. Right? But they're thin. They're thin. Very, very thin. We can play more Miami. I don't like to go over 4, but this is a situation where it could change. Now, on the other hand, we need to keep ownership in mind. However, they are playing a Philly team that is, a lot of their guys are on the 4 and 6 or haven't played because of the COVID protocols. But it's the first game, so you're going to have to make that decision right away. First game of the lot. So we're going to have to figure that out right away. How many and how much? And now we'll continue. The rest of point guards. So LeBron's questionable. They're questionable every day. I'm not going to sit here and guess. If Ben Simmons does play, his matchup is pretty awesome, right? They're thin, young guys. Ben Simmons a lot bigger than most guards. I can get behind it. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has finally been doing what everybody's been waiting for him to do. Did it against New Orleans, the Knicks, Brooklyn, going for over 50 DraftKings points. So his price is creeping back up. And he's playing a bad defensive team in San Antonio. Harris LeVert, we know that Kyrie Irving is out. We expect Harris LeVert to start. Against Oklahoma City, he was kind of on his way. It looked like he might have gotten there, but there's a big difference with Kevin Durant being on the court, right, with his usage. But we know what his upside is. It's capable of. We prefer KD to be out when we load up on him. And maybe we can't load up on him at 7,600 against a good defense, but we can still certainly get exposure, especially on a slate that's not that big. John Wall's questionable. He was unable to practice Monday. Migraine. If he were to miss, it would be a reason for us to kind of play James Harden. The Lakers just beat up on the Rockets. Something to keep in mind. But if Wall were to miss, we could certainly look to load up on some James. Right. DeRozan missed the Spurs last game, and Murray was like 70-something% on in a phenomenal matchup and just completely shit the bed. The whole game, she kind of shit the bed. You saw the first one these guys played. It was like massive scoring, Minnesota against San Antonio. Second game, totally different pace, totally different situation. It was a back-to-back for both teams. Jamal Murray is under 7K, so we can take a look at him. Last 2 games have been terrible, but we know what his ceiling looks like. Ingles missed, and I did catch Clarkson. I caught him against Milwaukee here. Low ownership. That was nice. That was when Ingles was out. That was good. And we got Maxey, who played 31 minutes. The usage was fine, right? If the game was close, he would have gotten more. And I think we could play him again regardless, because even if Ben Simmons is back, it looks like they're still going to be without Seth Curry. So that should open up some minutes for him between playing some backup point guard, and maybe he slides in and starts again next to Ben Simmons, if Ben Simmons is even there. Plus, Shake Milton looks like he's going to be out. But we got to see. Was it Milton and Seth Curry tested positive or something? Is that the circumstance? Let's give an anti-shout out to Colin Sexton, who was ruled in, was on the court apparently, and literally right when the game was about to tip off, felt like something didn't feel right in his ankle, and was a late scratch, which was a disaster for some of us that were able to go in and get him in last minute. But in all seriousness, hopefully he's all right, because I wish no injuries on no one. But that did suck. I know it sucked for Paulie too, because Paulie got burned twice. 2 slates in a row by that guy. Going to shooting guard. Not a ton that stands out. Barton's okay. Has not been an alpha. We like to play alphas. Has not been an alpha. Joe Harris. More of a GPP thing, right? With Levert or with KD in, Harris is just a GPP thing. You know who's been balling is Hamidou Diallo. He's coming off the bench and he's putting up monstrous scores. I know this guy has upside. I do, right? And I was hoping he would get an opportunity to start and we'd see him play with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander a ton and we'd see some things. But he's been shooting really efficiently. The rebounds have been inconsistent. He had the one game against the Knicks with 11 boards. That's not really what he's been doing. But still, man, when you're hot, and he's been hot. Lonnie Walker really stepped up with DeRozan out. Took 19 shots. He's been a little scoring dependent this year, which is an issue. And they've raised his price. But he has been doing well. Danny Green was a disaster against Atlanta. 0 for 9. That's what you get, 0 for 9. Only got 28 minutes. I think if the game was competitive and he wasn't shooting so shitty, we would have seen double-digit shot attempts. I mean, he did take 9. So I hate to say it, but if Philly does not get back Tobias and Simmons and all these guys, I will look at Danny Green. That's going to be something we need to pay attention for. Hopefully we get that news. It'd be nice to have. But if everybody's in, then obviously no. Not doing that. Going to small forwards. What's DeRozan? Okay, looks like DeRozan is out again. That's good to know. Good to know. So, yeah. Lonnie Walker scoring dependent prices increased. DeJounte Murray we can go back to. I'm thinking people bail on that, and he's more expensive than Hero. We could probably go back to him. Keldon Johnson, also disappointed. See, the rebounds were there. Blocks were there, just the scoring. 1 for 6. I think the back-to-back was a factor. I do. I think we see the Spurs play a little bit differently. Seems like a pretty good spot for Basley, who after that little mini hot streak went on a little cold streak. But I think this is a good spot for Mr. Basley. Don't love the price. I don't really like much of this position. It's small forward. What do you expect? That's why I ended up playing so much damn Caris LeVert. Royce O'Neal is 5'7". He went for 47 once, I think, in his life. And they wasted no time jacking up his... No time at all. We'll keep it moving. AD's questionable. Kevin Durant, he's going to be a cash game play. Anytime Kyrie's out and his price is under 10K, he's going to be a cash game play. So he's someone you can kind of be prepared to fit in or even put him to the side because the usage is massive. Even against Denver, I don't care. We just expect him to do more. Expect it. It's going to be popular. We'll see how we feel when it's actually time to build teams and we have some news. Looks like Michael Porter Jr. is still out. As far as we know, Kevin Love. The prices, man, I give DraftKings props. They've raised the prices on a lot of guys to make things not so much of a slam dunk. LMA, though, is probably still too cheap. 6'3" for LMA, that's really considering DeRozan's out. He got 37 minutes in the back-to-back. Took 21 shots. The usage was there. Didn't even get the double-double. But yeah, LMA 6'3" seems a little bit too cheap. Nah, he'll burn you. Call him the magician for a reason, but we expect his usage to be higher without DeRozan. Draymond Green is 5,600. Did really well against Toronto. 1 rebound short of a triple-double. It seems like he's starting to come around a little bit. So we could put him off to the side. Someone to keep in mind. Rudy Gay was kind of a disappointment, too. I thought he would have played more, and he really hasn't, even with DeRozan out. He's not getting a ton of minutes right now. It's just not working. Michael Scott. I fell for this one. I just thought because they were so thin they'd play him more, but the game got out of hand. It just didn't make sense at a certain point. Jokic, wow, 11K, but I can't say he hasn't earned it for the most part, even though the last 2 days have not been good. Brooklyn is a good matchup for him, no doubt. Embiid, I wonder if people go back to Embiid for his terrible performance. Well, I can tell you that Miami without Bam is going to be a whole lot worse against centers. I think Joel Embiid is going to be a pretty good play. And I'm curious to see what his ownership looks like. I really am. Sabonis, you know what it is with him. For 60 against Phoenix the other day, I'm not even sure what he did. Solid. Christian Wood coming off a bad game. I'll call it. Look at the only 3 rebounds. My man's playing center. Which reminds me, I wonder what. Where's Boogie? 4,500 for Boogie. Only got 8 minutes because he fouled out of the game. I like Boogie in tournaments. Not in cash, but in tournaments, I do think I may take some shots on Boogie. Because there is a possibility he ends up playing a little bit more. Wiseman's kind of interesting because this is a situation where they could need him more. Being that they're playing the Pacers who have Miles Turner and Sabonis, 2 bigs, right? But it's going to be a weird one. It's another weird slate. Doesn't mean we won't figure it out. Do what we need to do. But it's a weird slate. I'll acknowledge that. But go check us out at WiseTake.com. We'll see where we end up. I'll have the projections up at some point midday. And we'll start tweaking them from there as we get the news. Start to see what we come up with. But we have to adapt. Some of these teams are really thin. Try our best to pinpoint certain situations and adjust. That's all we can do. For myself, the entire WiseTake Nation, as always. Yeah.